Makelo, Morel. Most people know me by the name Morel. Basically, I am an all-round filmmaker, not just a film director. And my interest in film is quite an interesting one. It started way back when I was still trying out music. It was inspired by my love for music, and it was instigated by the fact that I used to be a musician, but I used to be so much into music videos and wanting to be at the scope of it in terms of directing it, taking good shots, advising the videographer. But it was never really that easy because every videographer that we used to work to when I was still starting out as a musician, they used to treat you as if your work has already been done. Wewe ushaimba mziki, iko sawa, tuache kazi yetu. And it used to frustrate me a lot. So that pushed my interest into film deeper and deeper, and I thought to myself, if the videographers that we don't work with don't believe me in this, the best thing I can do is to go and study it and make people see from me studying film and going deeper into it in terms of getting the information, the right information, knowing how to use such equipment, to come cameras, slate, come up on a script, nini. I thought that was the only way I could get into the field, and yeah, I joined school 3 years ago to do film, and I chose a directing option, and since then everything has been a revelation so far. I found a niche in directing films and editing and writing also, and yeah, that has been my journey so far in terms of how I came into being a film director. Now,
you said you studied film. So which school did you study film?
Actually, I'm still studying. I joined the Kenya Institute of Mass Communication. I am in my final year as a film directing student. Yeah.
So most of the parents don't know actually there is a course called filmmaking. So you can just elaborate to maybe to the people who don't know. People see it as a hobby, as a talent. So there is a parent out there saying that yeah. So what would you tell that parent?
Yeah, it is true. Let me start by instigating and reiterating the fact that most people look at it as a talent thing. Talent has a lot to say in terms of being a filmmaker.
Yeah.
But the most where school comes in is the technical part of it. When you understand the technicals of the equipment that are needed to become a good filmmaker or to come up with a good film, it is a bit more different and a bit more diverse in terms of wewe kukua kwa hiyo industry ya film. So specifically, let me specifically talk about the Kenya Institute of Mass Communication, mali nasoma. The course in general is film production. So under film production, there are options. There's the directing option, there's video editing, there's the camera option, there's sound design, there's STO, there's TV production, there's broadcast journalism. It's a whole big yard, and it's up to you to choose what you would like to study, the field that you'd like to study, according to mali interest yako in a line na mali una feel uko more talented and passionate. So for me, I felt like I engage more when I'm on set. I engage with the subject, I engage with the crew, I engage with the pre-production people, and I want to be involved in post-production. So I felt like being a film director is the best course of line for me, because the advantage of taking film directing as a course is the fact that it you are able to learn a lot more across the field, because it entails all the aspects that come up with a good film. Like basically when you do film directing, utasoma camera, utasoma video editing, utasoma script writing, utasoma screenplay writing, utasoma the creative part of production. So basically when you do film directing as a course, you get to take in all the information from the units that you get taught, and then it's up to you to specialize. Yeah.
Speaking of, most of filmmakers say that it takes a whole village. So we have spoke about engaging with several people, of course, kuna actors, camera people, and what are some of the challenges that you face as a film director in the industry?
There are many challenges. There are many challenges, and I think according to the challenges that we face, they vary according to which one decides to be the biggest challenge on set. First of all, as a film director, for me, I am the type of film director who writes his own scripts, and I think that one gets one of the challenges that we get to face out of the way when it comes to to me as a person. I haven't really gotten a chance to direct a script that I have not written, but that is one of the common challenges that film directors face. As a director, you're mainly a director, and then there's a script writer on the side, yeah? So you've been given a script to direct a script that you have not written. It's a challenge because as a writer, you always have a vision in mind. And as a director, you have your own way of directing. In some cases, you find that the director's vision and the writer's vision they collide. So when in case a proper pre-production has not been planned, there will be problems faced on set when the production process actually begins. Another challenge that a film director faces, which is a very common one and a major one, is a creative block. Because as a director, you're not just there to say, stand there, stand here. You have to bring out the creative aspect of you so that your work stands out. And sometimes there's a lot going on set, some things have gone wrong, location hajapatikana maybe, kuna subject hajatokea and is a major part of the film. Now you have to compromise, you have to improvise on set, and all that coming together, it can give you creative block when you're already on set. Work has to go on, but uko na creative block and you just can't approach. You can't start working when you feel like there's that part missing, because I believe as a director the most important aspect for a director is their creativity, because that's what makes you unique. Another challenge I guess it's I can say is in the equipment, because when as a director you have your vision in mind, the world that we live in, especially the country that we are in, filmmakers struggle a lot, mostly when it comes to capital and equipment. So you'd find that we have a project, we have done our pre-production well, we know everything that we need. We need maybe a specific location that costs this and this amount of money, and you find that the production cannot afford to give you everything that you need as a director, and now you have to, like I said, you have to compromise and you have to improvise, and now it becomes a bigger challenge, because even if you will be able to compromise and maybe work on set designs and all that, the fact that you didn't get exactly what you was on your mind, what you imagined, even though you have a makeshift plan, but the fact that you didn't get exactly what you want and you know iko available, ni nyinyi ndo hamjafika bei or something, it kind of motivation yako inapungua kidogo.
Now speaking of, you told us you actually script stories. Now, do you script your stories in regards to something happening in your life or something happening in society? How do you script your stories?
My biggest motivation when I'm writing my scripts is the fact that our stories have been told more by people who are not us. Yeah, because I watch a lot of films, and most of the successful films from Africa and from Kenya, you find that most of them have been done by people who are not really Kenyans, but they are interested in our stories. So I think that the best people to tell your story is you, because wewe ndo unajijua vizuri from the moment you were a kid to where you are right now. As much as I would look at you and say, this guy has a very interesting story, I would like to tell it, I would not tell it as boldly and in the details that you yourself have. And I feel like in Africa, I like to generalize Africa as a continent, because I look at our industry continentally. In Africa, we have a lot of stories, we have a lot of experiences that come up every day. When you look at African stories, we go to the past a lot of the times. Most of the times we go to the past, colonialism, before colonialism, what and what. But daily, there's progress, there's change, there's adaptation. And those are the stories that I feel like we should be telling, because it is what we experience and it is what we relate to more. Because what was crazy wako online? Anything happens, Thika Road, anything happens, Ngong Road, anything happens at the CBD, archives, nini, quick fast, watu washaona kwenye mtandao. So such stories can be, tunaweza zitoa TikTok, tuzilete kwa film, and then we show the world who we really are on a more broader and much serious perspective. Because most of the time you would watch these videos on social media, something serious has happened, but because it's in social media, it is inakuwa engulfed kama the usual kind of jokes and the usual kind of abnormalism that is around. And so unapata ikiangalia in that perspective, kwa social media, it will make people laugh, it will make people wonder na ipite, not unless many people are so much on it, no? But when you put it in the context of a film, a story, a book, you know, and it is originally from a Kenyan, inachukuliwa na more seriousness, and then it gives out the much needed information that, you know, it gives the storyteller the satisfaction that my story has gone out there and it will be there for even after I have left. And that's what I think ni direction tunafaa kufuata sana.
Yeah, now you've script a story, you have to cast the actors. So what do you look when casting actors?
What I look for? Most of the time you find as a director, I have a vision of who I would like to have as my subjects or as my cast members in my film. But then again, in the pre-production process, we usually give out roles. Before now we start looking for cast, we start looking for location and all that. So I have come up with a script and I'll be directing the script. Between me and my group members, we will choose the best casting director on set. We will choose a camera person. We'll choose a locations manager, a set designer, and all that. So you find there is a role for a casting director. The casting director precedes me. They only take what the biggest thing they take from me is my advice and my vision. But now when it comes to getting cast members, I have someone in mind that I would maybe like to approach and tell them, when I wrote this script, I had you in mind directly, yeah? I have him in mind. But when I approach, let's say for example, I've written a script and I have you in mind because maybe my script involves a newsroom and all that, okay? So I will approach you, but I will not bring you directly into the project. I will invite you for auditions. Because if I bring you directly into the project, I am kind of going around the back of my casting director, or maybe ninafanya kazi yake ikeni kama si ya maana. So my work as a director will be majorly on set, to direct my cast, to direct the set, to direct the crew, to direct the shots and all that. But when it comes to casting, there's someone who precedes me, and that's a casting director, and that's a role on its own. Sometimes I can be a casting director, but most of the time you'll find I am not the main director in the project. I have just been selected as a casting director. So for me as a casting director, when I'm now in that seat of a casting director, the things I look at the most is how much you fit the role and how much you look like the cast, more than how much of a good actor you are. Because I believe acting, and we are all as good as our previous jobs, and this might be your first previous job. You know, as an actor, you might have never acted before, but this being your first previous job, this being your first ever job, who knows? You know, so it's always about believing in yourself, and looking for what fits the profile of who you are looking for, more than how good they actually are on set. You can be the best actor there is in Kenya, but believe me, there is a role that if I put you in, even the audience will see it looks off on you. Yeah.
Now you've spoke about the film in Africa, so let's specialize on the film in Kenya. Of course, we've seen Kenya streaming on Netflix, Showmax. How is the game, the Kenyan film game industry right now?
I would say at the moment there is progress. There's progress, but not the kind that as a filmmaker you would like. But it's better than where we've been the past few years. That I can say for sure.
So what are they supposed to change? You've said it's good, but not good. Not that good.
Yeah, it's good, but not that expansive. Let me call it expansive, because I used to just a small quick story about me and why and film and why I think it's not expansive enough. I used to live in a town called Eldoret before I moved to Nairobi, and what brought me to Nairobi was to study film. And when I came to Nairobi, I was amazed by the amount of auditions that get posted out there, the amount of films that I came across when I came to Nairobi, and I looked at it and I loved it. But then after some time, I realized all these things are just happening within Nairobi. So meaning people from Eldoret, where I come from, people from Kisii, people from places like Nyandarua, people from watu wako mbali na Nairobi, and some cities like Kisumu to some extent, watu wako mbali na hizo places, now wana share the same passion, they don't get to get a piece of the cake that people here do. So I feel like Kenya is not that big of a country, in that unapata industry kama ya film imejifinya kwa capital city peke yake. I believe that for us to really get there, we need to have what we have in Nairobi in terms of an industry. We need to have it across Kenya. Hata kama itafika like in all ends of the country, basi ikue in many other towns, because we are growing not just as an industry but as an economy. We are growing. Yes, kuna mambo ya kasongo kutufinya nini, but as an economy you can see infrastructure coming up. You can see new groups coming up. You can see the youth coming up with a different mindset, changing how the world thinks and how things work. We saw how COVID has changed our timelines. So I feel like for me, as an industry, yes, we are growing, but we are growing because of the fact that we are blessed with the not giving up mentality, and that is what is still putting us there. But aside from the fact that you mentioned, most Kenyan projects are in platforms such as Netflix. Showmax is a very good platform also for Kenyan content.
Also YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube, Maisha Magic, but there are also film awards. Film awards have become more, and they are embracing Kenyan content and African content even more as days go by. And it's, believe me, there's Netflix, there's Showmax, there's all that, but one thing I realized is it is in film competitions and film festivals that you get to really see the work of Kenyans. there are so many good films out there on YouTube. There's so many good films that have not even been posted anywhere. Yeah. But when you attend these film festivals, you get to find out about them, and you get to compare them to the ones that have been accepted on Netflix, the ones that are playing on and running on Showmax, and you look at it in a way that yes, those platforms are good, but they are not enough. They are not as much as you'd want. But what you have to do, you appreciate what you have already, and then you work harder for the more that you need.
So the talent is there, the work is there, shida ni platform.
Yeah, the talent is there, the passion is there, the work is there. People are available. One day just wake up and go to a random audition at the Kenya National Theatre, at anywhere, you will see a queue of people who are passionate about acting, and they don't care what the project is, they just want to be put out there and be seen. So one of the biggest problems I think we have in terms of our industry growing, we are very iconic film directors and filmmakers whose jobs are on Netflix, but the challenge I would give the industry out there, the gatekeepers of our industry out there, and the platform givers, is the fact that they do good films, but we see the same people over and over, and yet according to me, ukioku kwa ground naona industry ni kubwa, and the only way to make that cake bigger is by involving many more people. But according to my observation, I feel like these great platforms that we look at as the game changers of our industry are so fixated. The system is so fixated on always giving the big platform to the same people, and I don't think it's because those same people are doing something extraordinary. I think it's just because, you know, story ya watu kusema life ni nini, connections ni nini. But I feel like if as an industry tunaweza create system yenye ina enable kila mtu kupata opportunity ya kushowcase kazi yake kwa this big platforms that we have currently in our country, industry ita grow much more faster than it is right now. Because if let's say my series is playing on Netflix, nimepiga season 1 na season 2, people will be waiting. People, the givers of the platform, will be waiting for me to go back, instead of looking for someone who can maybe give me a competition and, you know, to create your environment flani ya. If I don't do better than last time, Martin will overtake me, you see. But I am in that space where I know no matter what Martin does, but don't film yangu inaenda next year Netflix.
So moral tukimalizia, what will be your advice to the upcoming, maybe the young filmmakers, people aspiring to be directors and actors, and the post-production team, as advisors?
At the moment, the power is in your hands. We have phones. Every other person nowadays is on the phone. We have platforms like YouTube. We have platforms like Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok to a certain extent. Let's be big on marketing, and let's be big on patience, because film is an industry that flourishes on time. I understand there are these projects that come as challenges. You have to beat a certain timeline, but to come up with a good film, pre-production is very important, and that takes a lot of time. Production will only be smooth if you have done a proper pre-production on your project, whichever the project is. And post-production now is that space where you get to fix the mistakes of production. You get to improvise your work. You get to see your work in a different perspective, and you get to look at it at a different direction. But on top of all that, take your time, be generous, because we learn new things every day. But the only way you can grasp what you've learned and be better at what you do is by being generous with your knowledge and teaching people.
So tukimalizia, watu wanaweza kutoa wapi? Maybe there's someone would want to work with you, maybe atapata wapi, maybe social media?
All my social media pages, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, They know me as Morel Bin Bada. I am a filmmaker and I am also a recording and performing artist. And aside from film, I am also a corporate photographer and content creator. So just type Morel Bin Bada anywhere and you will find me. We also have a YouTube channel called OGS Production. That is where we post our short films. OGS stands for Our Ground Stories. And that brings me back to my point of I like telling stories that are happening with our lives as we continue.
Shukran sana, Morel Bin Bada, for making time for us this particular morning. You've been watching The Drift. My name is Martin Mashari. It is exactly that 6 minutes past the top of the hour. That's going to wrap up our program here on The Drift. Frederick Njiri will be coming up in a few with the Leadership Challenge. Let's meet again of course, during the day, so you keep you up to speed with what's happening from across the 47 counties, and of course, across the borders. My name is Martin Mashari, signing off. Let's do this again when God says we do.